back to this new question or topic area, which is called essential and non-essential. Essential very much is just identifying the parts of speech, the sentences, which are very important, or non-essential, less important. So the kind of questions we're asking is, what is the purpose of a part of speech? What is the difference between a statement and an example, for instance, or a claim and evidence? And there's a number of ways that the essential, non-essential is tested in the AL. So what I'm going to do is jump straight into a couple of questions so that we can kind of get an idea of the kind of ways this is tested. And if you would like to hit pause and read this short passage on smart cities pioneering sustainable urban living, please do. And if we go ahead to question 1, refer to the title Smart Cities Pioneering Sustainable Urban Living. This tells us, okay, so if we read the title Smart Cities Pioneering Sustainable Urban Living, okay, so what we'd get from this is that a smart city is sort of the first one, or pioneer of sustainable urban living. Okay, so what is it telling us? The heading could tell us that A, smart cities are an example of sustainable urban living. So if something is a pioneer, yes, it could be an example, but it's not just an example, it is the first example. So I would put a little dot here. Let's see if anything fits a little better. If it doesn't, then this one could be true. Sustainable urban living has led to the creation of smart cities. Well, this idea that it's a pioneer means that it is the first sustainable urban living sort of project. So the fact that it kind of be the other way around. So sustainable urban living has led to the creation of smart cities. I would say no, this is incorrect. Smart cities will pioneer sustainable urban living. This is very, very close. The text is very close to the actual title, Smart Cities Pioneering Sustainable Urban Living, and this is definitely true. Sustainable urban living is dependent on smart cities. Smart cities pioneering sustainable urban living. So the idea here is that we have sustainable urban living, and then an example of it, and the first example of it, and the first sort of pioneer are smart cities. So from this little diagram, you can tell that sustainable urban living is not dependent on smart cities. Smart cities are being created because of sustainable urban living, so we can kind of scratch that. Then we have a look at our 2 possible answers. Smart cities are an example of sustainable urban living, or smart cities will pioneer sustainable urban living. And as you might be able to tell immediately, C seems more suitable because it gives us more information. It's not just an example, it's something that is pioneering sustainable urban living. It is the first project of sustainable urban living. So this is sort of one question that kind of gives us an idea of how essential and non-essential will be tested. Let's go ahead to question 2. Refer to paragraphs 1 to 3. The story of Barcelona is the main topic of the article. B, the substantiation of the relevance of the article, merely anecdotal, or D, entertaining. So if we look down here, paragraphs 1 to 3, so it would be these. As urban populations grow, smart cities aim to make living more efficient. Barcelona, for example, has implemented a network of sensors throughout the city to manage traffic and reduce energy consumption. Then we have Barcelona city manager talking about addressing urban challenges. The results in Barcelona have been promising. Traffic flow is improved and energy usage has decreased, demonstrating the practical benefits of smart technologies in urban settings. So if we look a little above, we have this, they've introduced, and we have to kind of break down what this passage really is telling us. We have this at the top, we have the focus of the article, which are smart cities. And then the rest of the article, which is kind of giving us this example of Barcelona and how it has become more efficient and it has become more of a smart city. So the story of Barcelona in paragraphs 1 to D, is it the main topic of the article? No, I would not say it's the main topic of the article, because and if we look at the heading, we can see there's no mention of Barcelona in the heading. It's more this focus on smart cities. B, substantiation of the relevance of the article. Well, yes, maybe, because it's used as an example to substantiate how relevant smart cities are. Merely anecdotal. So anecdotal means sort of on the sidelines, just a quick story. So the fact that 3 paragraphs have been dedicated to Barcelona means that it's a little more than merely anecdotal, and entertaining, of course, doesn't fit at all. So we would be left with B, substantiation of the relevance of the article. Question 3. Barcelona's integration of technology has been primarily aimed at A, reducing traffic congestion, B, managing urban growth, C, making the city more responsive to residents' needs, or D, increasing tourism. So we'd go back up and read. As urban populations grow, smart cities aim to make urban living more efficient. Barcelona, for example, has implemented a network of centers throughout the city to manage traffic and reduce energy consumption. Integrating technology helps us to address urban challenges, says Marta Rios, a Barcelona city planner. It's about making the city more responsive to its residents' needs. The results in Barcelona have been promising. The traffic flow has improved, energy usage has decreased, demonstrating the practical benefits. So if we go back to our possible answers. So yes, it does say reducing traffic congestion. It doesn't talk about managing urban growth, and it definitely doesn't talk about increasing tourism. So we have A, reducing traffic congestion, C, making the city more responsive to residents' needs. Both of them could actually be correct. We have the mayor that talks about this, and we have this mentioned. However, if we look at the passage again, I'm just going to scroll back up. It talks about managing traffic and reducing energy consumption. Reducing energy consumption. And like all the AL questions, we're going to pick the most correct answer. So whilst A, reducing traffic congestion, is correct, it doesn't talk about reducing energy consumption. So I would go with C, because this encapsulates both, making the city more responsive to residents' needs, and is what the city planner has talked about. Let's skip ahead to question 4, which says paragraph 3 presents a statement and example, a claim and evidence, C, an opinion and facts, or D, a proposition and argument. And this is what paragraph 3 actually reads. The results in Barcelona have been promising, traffic flow has improved, and energy usage has decreased, demonstrating the practical benefits of smart technologies in urban settings. And before we head into the actual text, I think it may be worth defining what statement, claim, opinion, and proposition actually are. So what I'm going to say is a statement is a fact or description. While a claim, it asserts something that can be tested or proved. Which can be tested. And it usually is followed by evidence. An opinion is more a personal belief on something. And a proposition suggests a conditional scenario. And I'm going to give you an example of each of these. So if we were to give the example of remote working, a statement would be many companies have adopted remote working policies. It's a fact or a description. It tells you immediately what it is. A claim would be remote working increases productivity amongst employees. Very much it's asserting something which can be tested, and it usually will be followed by evidence telling us how this claim is true. In terms of an opinion, I believe remote working leads to better work-life balance. It's a personal belief. While a proposition would be, if a company adopts remote working, then it will see an increase in employee satisfaction. Often propositions have an if. So we're going to take the fact that we've now discussed and defined this and look at this given our passage. The results in Barcelona have been promising. Is it a statement? Well, it's not a fact. To me, it sounds more like a claim, but these two are closely related. So I would put a bigger dot here because it feels like a claim. Is it an opinion? No, it's not suggesting a personal belief. Is it a proposition? No. So automatically I would rule these two out and then go back to the passage and look at the second half. The results in Barcelona have been promising. Traffic flow has improved, energy usage has decreased, demonstrating the practical benefits of smart technologies in urban settings. Is this an example or is this evidence? And when reading this, it cites a couple of reasons why the results in Barcelona have been promising. So I'm tending towards believing that it's evidence, and therefore I would go with B, a claim and evidence. But it's worth understanding the difference between these three things, and this could help you really ace these questions on essential, non-essential.